How you guys doing tonight? Man, as Bitcoin slowly keeps back up to 70,000. It is nuts. I mean, there's never a dull moment in the space. How you guys doing? Hope your bags are getting pumped back up again. It's been a little bit of a down day. A lot of news to cover. Oh my god, especially if you got AI coins. Holy crap. What in the world? Anywho, let's see. So yeah, Bitcoin's just kind of... Oh, there's Bitcoin Chan. She's a little confused right now. She's like, what the hell is going on? We came up a beautiful opening today and into the week. And yeah, it looks like we were going to hit 71, stay there for a little while. Nope, straight back down. And now we're consolidating at 69.5. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to be fudding right now. There's a lot of silly stuff going on with the SEC and Coinbase and the whole appeal. And oh, man, there's a lot to unpack. But what's really important right now is what Larry frickin' Fink is doing. And we're going to dive into that a bit. There's a lot to cover. He's been in every news outlet today. Every news outlet. And he had an interview yesterday. There's a lot to cover with our buddy Larry frickin' Fink. Anywho, let's just dive right into it. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index and the S&P stock market sitting at a 70. And yeah, Crypto Fear and Greed 83. Look at this, bullish as all hell. Bullish as all hell. I know we're gonna get into why too here in a bit. 104 in the dollar doesn't matter anymore because we decoupled from the dollar as of 2023. I personally believe. Yeah, you can see here we've been just going up on the month. And the Bitcoin halving in 23 days, 3 hours, 53 minutes, and 9 freaking seconds until the 420 blaze it. Bitcoin halving. You can just taste it. You can just taste it now. Actually, XRP, yeah, there's a lot to cover today. XRP is actually looking to settle. Whether they pay or not, it has to be settled around the 20th to the 22nd, I believe, in April. So it's going to be really interesting how that just happens to line up with the halving. Yeah, Crypto Fear and Greed Indexes. Oh yeah, it's all out there. Let's see what's going on in the hour. Everything's just kind of consolidating. Nothing crazy. Doge is up 1% or 2. Render's up 1% or 2. Yeah, nothing to really see here on the day. Mantle's up 32%. I don't even know what the hell this thing is. What the hell is Mantle? Apparently, was it just something that just launched? We go back on the month, the year. No, this is an old coin I've never used or heard of. In the 30,000 plus coins or whatever the hell we're up to now. Or maybe it's just like 13 or something. So there's Say down there coming up at 5%. Really needed a little bit of a move too. It really hasn't done much in a while. Axel, Sui, Say kind of moved together for some weird reason. And Atom's up 2 or 3%. In the top 200, whoa, ETHI. What? I don't even know what this is either, man. There's too many things going on. This may be tied into BlackRock's tokenized venture for all the assets. We're gonna see. Ocean's up 10% because they have just announced a merge between Ocean and Fetch AI and I'm trying to remember the third one, but we're gonna get into that as well. So if you got a bag of those, look for big things in the future. Big things. Alrighty, and then we are looking at Coin Blast today because I want to see. We dipped down to about 330,000. Oh wow! Look at even further. Holy crap! 328,000. Can't even say these numbers anymore. It's ridiculous. 328,000 Bitcoin left on the balance sheet on Coinbase. You know, if we would just stop trading Bitcoin, it would be at a flat zero already. But no, we just got to keep trading, giving BlackRock a little, giving BlackRock a little, giving BlackRock a little, giving Fidelity a little. And this is crazy. This staircase downward is insane. Insane. And soon Bitcoin is going to dry up on all the major exchanges in America with these ETFs. And yours truly, Hong Kong, is going to be next. They are going to be next. And it's coming up quick. And economists are saying that it could possibly be even more of a demand than the American market. Because you know what? They actually care about technology and the future. So that's just another way of thinking out of our scope. We've got a little too many old boomers and gold bugs around. Anywho, we did flip Coinbase. Bitcoin did flip silver briefly today, and it fell back down. So expect Bitcoin to make another move and overtake silver yet again, probably within the next few days. Because especially once you see what I have to cover tonight. Oh boy, we're gonna dive into it. Larry Fink's been all over the damn place. I can't even keep up with it. It took me forever to actually track down some of this stuff because it was pumping out so fast. I couldn't even get the recorded news straight from the source until about an hour ago. It was crazy. And that was the last interview. That was about 2.5 hours ago with Fox Business. So we have a lot to unpack there. Crypto market cap, anything crazy going on? Not really. Still the three top kings: Bitcoin, ETH, Solana. XRP had a little bit of a pump, and still sitting at the number 4 in the actual coins. You don't count the exchanges and the stable coins. We also have Dogecoin coming in, a hot fifth, and Cardano, Avalanche. Thank God Avalanche is still top 10, and Shiba Inu right behind it. Wow, Dot's moving up too, still 13. Above a chain link. Where's Nearth? Damn, Nearth's falling behind about 19. All right, and we don't need that today. This is getting wild, man. This is getting wild. These ETFs are getting nuts. I would say we're not sure what the hell they bought in today. This day is the 27th. We may have some news on X. We can check that later if we have some time. But yeah, basically, it's probably sitting in at another 2,000-3,000. I heard the inflows today were pretty massive, though. Bitcoin going wild. Oh boy. Yes, Mondo. Bitcoin's going wild. It's not gonna stop. It's going up forever, Mondo. Oh my God. Quoting Michael Saylor there. Yep, it's going wild. So yeah, I would say BlackRock probably gonna purchase somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 a day, probably putting their stash up to about 250,000 Bitcoins. Bitcoin's gonna be the best stripper ever. Yeah, it's gonna strip all the fiat away from the world. That's what it's gonna do. Yeah, so this is getting insane as Grayscale continues to bleed out, and the outflows of Grayscale are still ongoing. They've been pretty massive, but they're keeping up. I mean, we're able to keep this going for a long time. And you know what? I think BlackRock wants it they want them to bleed out forever, because that's just more Bitcoin on the American market, in the American market, on the American exchanges. Anyhow, moving on. So we're gonna dive right into it. There's a ton of cover. It's all about your boy Larry freaking Fink. This one just came out a couple hours ago. I want to kind of save this one for later because it's the newest data. We also have BlackRock interviewed Larry, freaking Mad Money Man, Crazy Kramer. A little bit. We're going to play a little bit of this. It's mostly going over AI and how it's going to affect the market. He does touch retirement in every single interview. So keep that in mind. This is really big. And he's pushing the American market to pay attention and focus on their retirement.
We all need to be focusing on a pathway to make more people have hope. And when more people have hope and less fear, and I think everything you're framing is if more people have more fear today, We need to have pathways that create more hope and more certainty.
Well, you know, right now, people believe that the deficit is too big, so they buy Bitcoin. How about if they bought shares in an infrastructure fund, which is trying to combat the way that our country does business?
I think there'd be many great opportunities to invest.
But I like this one. I like this infrastructure.
I'm a big believer in infrastructure.
Because I go to our
Kramer hates Bitcoin, by the way.
Private partnerships.
Yes.
This is what we're talking about. And the money that they can charge to do it is high. And that gives us a chance to invest in something that's more than
They're
just
trying to find the solution for this, overprinted money issue.
Quality of services better, smaller lines, just a better. There's more money going into it to fixing it up to make it, a great service.
Right, and I'm talking about the Global Infrastructure Partners buy, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, because we all think that the government doesn't work, and yet here we are in a London airport, and the government didn't work. They gave it to Global Infrastructure Partners.
They sold it to them.
And that was just absolutely terrific.
Yeah.
And this is also part of the energy pragmatism. We can let these companies do carbon capture, but we also let them drill.
Correct, and that's what exactly we did. That's why we're partners with Occidental Petroleum.
Which I thought was brilliant.
All right, we're not going to play that entire interview. That was the first one this morning that he was on. He was all over the place today. And then this one came out. I'm not sure if he was actually there in person today. This was on Bloomberg, but this was probably pre-recorded, but it came out today. And we'll dive into that a little bit as well.
Different, I think.
This one's about, primarily this one, he talks about the U.S. debt. And we're going to dive into that too, because, yeah, we had the budget. Remember, the budget came out last week. We covered it. And last weekend, they passed it, 1.2 trillion. And we're already seeing the effects of that, right? Already seeing it. Boom, 34 and 0.6 instead of 0.5 where we were last week. And you can see here the national debt in the United States. And we're going to kind of compare some of the other countries too. It's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand, man. It's getting out of hand, man. All right. Man, this is nuts.
Personal. Starts with your parents,
Right.
And they're earning, saving for retirement, and includes your grandkids as well.
Yes.
The retirement crisis. Give us your diagnosis of that problem right now.
Well, it's something I've been writing about for years, but I emphasize it in this letter. And, all my letters have been based on some long-term issues. And let me be really truthful about my letters. My letters are a reflection of my conversation with clients. So it is, and so over the past year, I heard more and more conversation about retirement, the retirement crisis, from many parts of the world, from middle-class developing countries to developed countries. The acute problem here in the United States is that we have still 57 million Americans who don't have any savings or any retirement plan. Social Security is a fantastic foundation.
Do you have a retirement plan? Do you have a stack of Bitcoin or some other crypto that you might be falling back on for your retirement? If you do, please tell me what you got in the chat.
For retirement. But if that's all you have when you retire, you're going to be living in poverty, below the poverty line.
In a dystopian future.
It's supplemental, but it's not meant to be the totality of what you have in retirement. And the whole concept of we're aging, we're all living longer. And I think one of the big narratives
I don't know about living longer, actually. One of my family members just passed away this weekend. And my buddies, a couple of friends I have back where I'm from, their parents just passed away, or their dads just passed away over the past 6 or 7 months or so. People are living not as long as they used to. I don't know where he's getting. Maybe the wealthy, the ones that can afford the good food and all the special programs and whatever. Most people that I know are only living to 65 now. That's only up to retirement. It's not a beautiful future that I see painted for us. It's a shame because I'm watching my grandparents outlive my parents or their kids. It's tough. It's really bad.
I have to reflect in 2023 was the miracles of medicine. When we talk about the drugs like Ozempic and all the different weight loss drugs, how that is extending life. It's conquering kidney disease and liver disease and heart disease and joint disease. And then there are new medicines now for dementia that extends life. So if you think about the miracles of technology and how it transforms our lives and extends our life, there is not a dialogue in America or most places about can we afford that longevity. And our entire retirement system was based on statistics that were created 50 years ago, whereby most Americans retired between 60 and 62 then, but most Americans then passed away at 67. And today, statistically, a couple 60 years old in good health, one of them is going to live over 90. And so the other question is, should we reevaluate how we work and how long we work? Because we all need purpose in life. And in most people find purpose, obviously, maybe with their grandchildren, their children, their community. Many people find purpose in their jobs. And the thought of retiring at 60 with 30 more years or a 30-year life in front of you, we need to have a dialogue. We need to have a conversation. And you know,
Americans aren't thinking about the future there. Oh my God. Man, he's been all over the place today. I think he says it.
I'm an optimist. I am very optimistic about the long-term vitality of our markets. I'm bullish on capitalism.
Right.
The reason I'm bullish is when I read the newspapers every morning and listen to Bloomberg and other news organizations, it's full of scary things. We talk about.
Here's the other half of that interview where he talks about the U.S. debt.
To what extent has the success of the capital markets come specifically because we've taken more debt on the public balance sheet? We've shifted debt from private balance sheets to public balance sheets.
No question. Let's just use a statistic. And I think that when I talk about this statistic, I get frightened. In the year 2000, the U.S. deficit was $8 trillion. Today it's $34 trillion. So 23 years later, we increased our deficit by $26 trillion. So for the first 40 years, we increased our deficit to 8 trillion. And then in the last 23 years, we increased it by $26 trillion. I think that speaks volumes of what's happening in our country today. The problem with these type of deficits is, and now and I believe higher interest rates for longer, the cost of financing our deficits are going to erode more and more of our disposable income as a country. And I do believe we're getting to a point where our public debt is going to start crowding out private capital, and we're going to have structurally higher interest rates.
What can the private sector do to trigger some action in that regard? I mean, you're the head of the largest asset manager in the world, Larry Fink. It's not just you, but you have some influence. At this point, we have
one of the strongest men in the world, the most powerful.
So, in my letter, I talk about the need for more public-private investments. Well, the United States is one of the last countries where we've had private capital investing in our infrastructure. And I believe if we changed our policies, privatized our airports and privatized maybe our ports, and having private capital investing that, then our public spending could be rededicated to more urgent social needs, more urgent needs, elevating our education, elevating our issues around Social Security and healthcare. And so I believe the need is to rethink what is the role and responsibility of the public sector for the development of better 21st century infrastructure. We know that we are going to have to digitize our entire economy. We know
here it is, here it comes.
On decarbonization. These require huge pools of money. Allow the private sector to be part of that. We have this enormous functional capital markets that can provide the capital.
He wants to tokenize everything
and access the role of private sector. And so I think we still, that does not change the course of our deficits, but we can certainly reallocate some of our monies into more urgent issues. And I would say, and my letter speaks about it, we need to grow our economy so our deficits are a smaller component of our GDP. That is the bigger issue. If we continue to just grow at 2%, we have these type of deficits. That's when the deficits really are going to be
91% of our GDP.
Which is just 3%. Is that realistic?
that has to be our target. We need to find ways of growing at 3% instead of just cutting taxes, or we need to find ways of incenting private capital to be investing more. We need to encourage growth, and we need to be, and this is a debate now, and there's a lot of people talking against this, we need to embrace our capitalism, because our capitalism has shown to be the best economic force in the world.
Oh boy, it gets better and better. The next one, he actually says something about the ETH ETF. We'll just play a little bit of that right there. I think that's the same.
One of the most widely read shareholder letters on both Wall Street and Main Street just came out. It is headlined, "Time to Rethink Retirement." Okay, that's a nice headline, but when you go into it, Larry Fink outlines not just how to rethink it, but to take action, and that includes looping in the capital markets. Back now with BlackRock's Larry Fink. Listen, this is a national priority, at least it should be, or it becomes a national crisis, you say?
Well, I think it's a global priority because leaders in every country.
Right before we dive into this, Bitcoin, it looks like it's taking a move up. Yep, there it is. Just like that, the ticker behind me. And yep, it's at almost breaching right back into 70,000 because the other countries don't want to mess around, man. They got to get their exposure too. And this is the same kind of thing we saw last bull run too. Was I remember in 2021, just every time we would close, the other markets would pump us back up. So yeah, they're going to buy our dip. That's not fair. Oh, well, I bought our dip twice today, so I can say you can do whatever they want. Everybody bought a little bit of our dip. If we fall out further, though, I'm going to buy even more. But yeah, this is getting ridiculous now. Let me take Bitcoin channel so we can kind of dive a little further into this. But yeah, it looks like we got to get above 70,200 and to 77. Somewhere in that range would break us through that resistance, because we're going to have a lot of resistance here between these levels. And that takes us right to about 70,500. And yeah, once we can break through that, then we are in the money and moving back up, and then we gotta fight through 72 again, and then all the stuff back here. This is the only stuff we have, and again, we're on uncharted territories once we get past this point of 73.8 or 74 when we touch that area, depending on what exchange you're on. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at right now, and yeah, we'll keep an eye on that as it goes. We're gonna get right back into Larry, and he's talking about again pushing the retirement narrative, using that to scoop up more of his IBIT shares, pushing that ETF, and yeah, let's see what else our buddy Larry Fink has to say.
Whether it's a developed country or a developing country, or focusing on how do we prepare our citizens, and more importantly, in the countries that have small but growing capital markets, they see the power of the U.S. capital markets. They see the power of our capitalism, and they are trying to develop a retirement system that will then fund their capital markets and grow their capital markets.
Let's just explain, though, when you talk about capital markets, compounded since the S&P was created, 1957, it has returned annualized returns of 10.26% every. I mean, that's amazing.
Oh my God, 10% a year? Oh my God, the S&P 500 gives me 10% a year? Oh my God, I think I should invest in that instead of the one thing that does 100 or 200% a year. Huh? Or 300% a year? Or who knows? This cycle might be 1,000%. I should definitely invest in that 10% thing.
Suggesting is we need to have a conversation. As I said earlier, I'm an optimist. I'm an optimist because we solve problems. We read papers, we watch news, and it's generally filled with negativity. And it scares us. And the whole issue of hope and fear, there's more fear in the world than
I saw something on CNBC that had a very astute guy trying to talk the moderator out of fear and loathing on,
right.
Into fear and loathing.
He's talking about our boy. I forget the name of the CNBC host. Damn it. It's off. It's on my tongue. I just can't think of it. But yeah, he interviewed him, basically pushing Larry to say, you know, the doom and gloom that is the U.S. market and our you know, deficit. And yeah, they're not talking about that on Fox News.
I believe there's more opportunity for hope, and I believe there's more opportunities in the future. But if we don't start talking about rethinking retirement, rethinking how we should think about retirement plans.
Well, you've got a plan called Life Path Paycheck.
Yeah.
Now, talk about this. Explain what it is. This is iShares as well.
It is for a 401k or the defined contribution plans. A 401k plan, when you retire,
More ETFs are coming.
You get a 100% of your savings in a lump sum, and you reinvest that lump sum. But most people don't even know what to do with it, and people are frightened about are they going to outlive their savings?
And they might.
And they may, but the more you invest during your working age, the sooner you put some money away during your working age, getting back to your S&P compounding, the higher probability you're going to have a pool of assets, a pool of money that you're going to be able to live with dignity and hope during your retirement age. What Life Path Paycheck is using the same formula of this target date plan, where the early years you have majority of your 401k or in equities.
Well, you said 99%.
And then over time it goes more into fixed income.
It's like a 529 college savings plan.
Exactly. So it narrows. We could then define to you what a defined benefit plan was.
I almost feel like putting the BlackRock logo, 1-800-BlackRock on the bottom. Is this like an advertisement for BlackRock?
Well, are you talking your book? I mean,
Basically.
Is, right? Did I see that correctly?
There's no there's no wrap fee by the insurance companies in Life Path Paycheck.
Let me ask you another question about this thing, because this caught me in your letter. It's in the letter. It's not about retirement. It's about energy. I mean, you basically say this could be the fact that we're Bitcoin mining like crazy. We have
Bitcoin mining like crazy.
You suggested the light could go out if we don't figure out energy infrastructure. My question to you is, which I really do agree with, but here's where I didn't see in your letter. Why don't you just say we need some nuclear power?
Well, that's one of the answers.
So would you be in favor of more nuclear
small
power?
nuclear reactors? Absolutely, but that's one of many solutions. We have, we need to be upgrading our infrastructure. Most countries need to build their technology and their infrastructure. If you think about the macro trends are, and I talk about that, is deficits are becoming very cumbersome. Governments are going to need to rethink how they finance infrastructure. There's huge pools of money in the private hands, so we need to be, in most countries, they privatized airports. And the performance of most airports outside the United States are stronger than they are here.
But Larry, we've waited for the government to do that, and unless you're going to be Treasury Secretary, which you've said no, we need to take that piece out of it, because Social Security is going to run out of money in a decade.
We need to rethink Social Security and how we are going to fund that, and there are many...
But what can people do today? Because, look, Life Path is an option. Right now, it comes out in April, as I understand it. It goes live. But if you talk about compounding, you look at IVV, which is the S&P iShares, or even SPY. I mean, IVV started in 2000. You can see how well it has compounded. I think we have the charts. And then you see, I think the SPY started a couple of years earlier, and it's, I mean, that compounding is
crazy.
But is it that difficult to figure this out?
No, but we need
that's
to
the whole thing.
Look, we spend so much time on health. We spend not enough time on financial literacy. We need to have more people understand what you're talking about. This whole
the problem is you're not going to get more people to understand, because they won't even take an hour to even figure out what the hell Bitcoin is, yet alone like how they can save for retirement. I mean, it's just not the type of person you're trying to preach.
We need to have a conversation not about if the markets are going up and down in any one period of time. We need to have the concept
Good luck with that. It wouldn't
but
be business news.
But we need to be talking about the whole issue that, Liz, you talked about, the compounding over years and years and
Meaning
years.
start early.
Start early, and whatever you can save. And for some people, saving is a real difficult time. So we have 57 million Americans right now that do not have any retirement. And so
57%.
57 million.
Oh, million rather.
Million.
That's a lot. That's like
So there's a lot of people. So, but
I don't know about that number. It's probably a lot higher than that. Maybe people, adults, 57 million adults, because it's like 350 million Americans, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. I think our chart actually showed that, actually.
401.
We'll dive into that real quick. Yeah, population 330 million Americans. So that number seems kind of low in my opinion, because I mean that's obviously not every working American. That's not every adult. There's probably a quarter of that is well, man, our fertility rate's pretty low, so maybe half of that is working now. Oh man, it's bad. It's bad.
And K plan and a defined contribution plan. The whole concept of focusing on the compounding, believing in having hope that the future is better than today. And that has been my whole notion, that we as human beings, we solve solutions, we make things better over time. And that's why I'm a firm believer. I think in 2012, somebody asked me, it might have been you, Charlie,
probably,
asked me, what would be your allocation in equities? I said, for me, 100%. Yeah.
You're no longer at 100%, obviously.
Pardon me?
You're no longer 100%.
I am.
So that's a headline.
No, it's not.
Larry Fink is 100% now at, how old are you, 70?
71.
That's, we got to, by the way, we got to end it there. But I want to end it on the notion that Larry Fink.
Damn, Larry's 71.
I'm a believer in our capitalism, and I believe that in 10 years, we're going to look back and say, these were good.
All right, we got to end it.
Yeah, I don't. They must have. I don't know. Somehow he must have missed it. But I do remember seeing. I guess they cut that out, and then they came back later.
By the way, thank you.
Oliver Stone.
Yeah. Well, at one point he was asked about the Ethereum ETF, and he did have some interesting things to say about that. Apparently, we didn't find it in the clips today, but I did hear it while I was at work today, working at Mickey D's, and I did find an article that kind of goes over that as well. So we're going to dive into that too.
That's what BlackRock's Larry Fink. He's warning of a retirement crisis. He thinks people aren't saving enough. He also calls the 65 years of age retirement age a bit crazy.
As you can see, it's all over the freaking news. Every single outlet's covering Larry Fink retirement, and obviously Bitcoin's rolled into that. Every single outlet that he touches, it's insane. I mean, it's all over the damn place. And yeah, when it comes to the ETF, I don't think it says it there, but yeah, there is an article that kind of goes into it in detail. I'm gonna just roll into it. There's so much to cover today. There it is. BlackRock Larry Fink says an Ether ETF is possible even if ETH is a security. To basically squash that FUD that ETH has to be declared a commodity in order for the ETFs to basically take off, which everyone should know. That's not what this is all about. The SEC is going to go after anything that's considered a commodity or acting like a commodity that's truly a security, which you know what we think about Gary Gensler and what he said at MIT back in 2000 and what was that, 2018, 19, 17, when he was teaching at MIT. He said 90% of all crypto are commodities, and ETH, he specifically said before, was one. The only thing I'm going to give maybe Gary is, yeah, we are staking ETH now, so technically they're getting a yield, but I mean Coinbase is going to have that problem too with Doge and all the other things. They're going to be giving yields out on dividends out on at the end of the year. We'll see how that rolls off. Anyway, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says an Ether, I hate when people refer to Ethereum as ETH, an ETH ETF would still be possible even if the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission designates the cryptocurrency as a security, which would increase the regulatory scrutiny around the second largest digital asset. Asked Wednesday on Fox Business whether BlackRock, which has made waves in crypto, through its Bitcoin exchange traded fund, introduced earlier this year, could still list an ETF that holds Ethereum, either if the crypto is a security. He replied, I think so. Even though he said in the interview, I remember him saying along the lines of, yeah, he thinks so, and he can't talk too much about it. He's just giving the same blanketed, excuses like he did in the start of the Bitcoin ETF rollout. So it's definitely in the works. I think it's going to happen still, regardless of what's going to happen with the SEC. At some point, the CFTC, the Commodities Trade Commission has to step in, because not everything is the SEC's jurisdiction. We shouldn't be giving all of the power to the SEC. It's ridiculous. So the SEC is reportedly taking a look at the question of whether Ether is a security. Ugh. Fortune reported earlier this month that the regulator is seeking to classify Ether oh my god, as one that has subpoenas to several companies as part of that inquiry. This caused concern over whether this would mean the ETF would even be possible in the US. Come on. ETH tumbles 6% as the ETF hope is diminished. But FINK's confidence is a strikingly note of optimism. He knows something. He's like one of the strongest men in the goddamn world. I think he knows what's up. I think he knows he's going to get what he wants. I think he knows that he's got 576 ETF rollouts, versus one that they applied for. So, yeah, BlackRock's going to get what they want. They always get what they want. It's not a question. It's also now 11 issuers of spot Bitcoin ETFs. The asset manager's giant fund, the iShares Bitcoin IBIT. Insane, right? 250,000 Bitcoin in 2 months. In 2 months. We rolled this out 2 months and 2 weeks, right? They rolled this out in the middle of January, and here we are at the end of March. 2.5 months. It's ridiculous. And they already have more than MicroStrategy, and they're approaching the grayscale Bitcoin ETF. So it's about to get wild, man. It's about to get wild. And let's check on Bitcoin real quick as we're talking about this. Looks like we touched 70 and we got knocked back down. So we're gonna have some strong resistance at 70. And let's see what happens here in about 20 minutes. The Asian market's going to open up. I think right now it's about 11 o'clock in Japan. And we should probably check on some other projects as well, like Jasmy. It's coming down from a mountain. Oh my god. It was a pretty big last we saw it last Tuesday. Crazy. Anywho, yeah, let's finish up that article and move on to so many other things going on. Oh my god, we gotta roll into the AI coin, the great AI coin merger. Man, there's just too much going on. Too much going on. Look, I am very bullish on the long-term viability of Bitcoin, he said. We're creating now a market that has more liquidity, more transparency, and I'm pleasantly surprised that I would never have predicted that before. And he said in that interview that Bitcoin was not only the greatest crypto ETF or whatever, it's the only the crypto ETF really, spot ETF that's ever rolled out. Well, I should take that back. Other countries have already did it, right? It's not only the best crypto ETF, it's the best one in history, in ETF history. So yeah, you can only imagine where ETH is going to go with that. So that is what's going on with BlackRock. It took a long time to cover all that. It was like half hour to cover all that. That's insane. But yeah, that's what's going on with our buddy Larry Fink. He's focusing on retirement. He's getting out there. He's using that as a base to push all these other ETF products, as you saw. I mean, one of the anchors even called him shilling the products and saying it's basically a blanket advertisement for BlackRock on the news. So yeah, that's what's going on with BlackRock. Larry Fink is pushing this product hard. He knows he wants to make fees on it. And honestly, at this point, he may actually believe this is the way. I mean, we know he's going to tokenize every single asset. So he definitely believes in this technology because he's going to be making a premium on it. Anywho, freaking Larry Fink. This is where we're at. Oh my God. And don't space him, man. He's going to be in the news more and more. So yeah, we just kind of looked over this a little bit before. I wanted to kind of just dive a little bit further into it. This is where we are with the national debt in America. Is a lot higher as of today. We're up $100 billion more as of today in the United States. And that's 91% of our GDP. We are almost at 100%. All right. And we know the interest rates are climbing up to about $1 trillion in interest. So, and you take that to the next one, that's China at 80%, and then Japan has a big problem, very big problem. And this is why I don't know how they avoided a recession. That's what they came out and said a few weeks ago, right? They're avoiding a recession canceled, and then they immediately jumped ahead of Germany as they fell to the fourth largest, market. So Japan's back somehow. I don't know how. And then the next biggest debt to GDP is the UK. Insane. I mean, this is getting out of hand. We gotta calm down, man. We're headed way too quick into the fire. But that's what it is. We're living in like a dystopian future, and in this world, everything burns. The cop cars, we saw that. Remember the George Floyd? Oh yeah, anarchy is going to be right there and welcome in this new world that they are making for us here in the States. We're going to be a third world country as soon as you know it. Yes. Better gobble up some of that Bitcoin and maybe move on out. Yeah, it's just me being a little bit too more optimistic on the doom and gloom versus Larry Fink, who wants to keep all the fat rich people alive till they're 200 or whatever. It's insane. Yeah, so that's what's going on. I just want to dive a little bit deeper into that because it is crazy how we're comparing every single thing to America. It's not just America. We have the rest of the damn world to think about as well. All right. So, all sorts of crazy stuff going on. We're going to dive into some other articles. Goldman Sachs, this is a big one. Remember I told you a week ago, Kathy Wood was talking about how the institutions are in, but the banks are waiting on the sidelines. This is it. This is the beginning. Goldman Sachs is already talking about their clients maybe getting active in crypto. They're getting in. And if Kathy's right, they're waiting on the sidelines to see which ETFs are going to play out. Because there can only be 3. That's what Kathy says, and hers is the third. So at that point, if that does take place, and some of these all start to fall off, drop out, maybe sell their shares, maybe merge and do other ETFs, so we're going to see a lot of weird stuff. It's going to happen probably by the end of this year, when they just kind of figure out they created a product that's just not going to have legs. That would be like VanEck or like Vanguard or some of these other smaller ones than the that we cover on the Bitcoin treasuries. Anyway, many Goldman Sachs largest clients are ramping up their activity in crypto, according to Goldman Sachs. Clients are getting active. Global investment bank Goldman Sachs has revealed that the spot Bitcoin ETF exchange traded fund approvals and BTC price recovery has triggered a renewed interest in crypto among the largest hedge fund clients. Max Minton, Goldman Sachs Asia Pacific head of the digital asset bank, is a mouthful, digital assets, shared in an interview with Bloomberg last week that the recent ETF approval has triggered a resurgence of interest and activity from our clients. Many of our largest clients are active on or exploring getting active in the space. It was quieter last year, but we've seen a pickup in the largest in the interest from clients of onboarding pipeline. Jesus, I can't read today. Oh God. Since the start of the year, Minton described, Goldman Sachs isn't just catering to its usual crowd of hedge funds. Its crypto derivatives business is attracting broader ranges of clients, including asset managers, bank clients, along with some select digital asset firms. These clients are using investment bank crypto derivative products to speculate on price movements, boost returns, and hedge against losses. I mean, this is huge. And we talked about how Bank of America is coming out and saying that they're worried with the state of the economy. And they're also on the sidelines too. JP Morgan is going to be the last one to actually go in and say that they are in crypto, even though we know they've been buying Bitcoin now for 2 years on the sidelines. And JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon's a freaking, hypocrite. So, yeah, it's coming. This is going to be an end of the year kind of thing. I think it's going to blow up the market even more insane for the height of the bull run next year. And this is what's going to be. I mean, we have another article to cover that basically this time is different. Because we have too much of this. Way too much of this. They're not going to let this all go. They're not going to let all the money just seep out into the the population and let all the plebs pick them up, right? They don't want the poor people to have money. No, they're going to gobble up all the Bitcoin until there's nothing left. And there really is not much left. If you think about it, right now there's only 300,000, we just looked at 320,000 Bitcoin left on Coinbase. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's enough right now to get us another 2 months with the current inflows right now that they have. And if they have to gobble up some of the in-between trades, Gareth Soloway shorting Bitcoin over here, boom, gobbled up by BlackRock immediately. That's what we saw this morning. I was really, really calling this out when we hit this bottom like a few times this morning. I was like, holy crap. That didn't last very long at all. Yeah, it was, I have it saved on my Discord. I keep track of this because as soon as I see a really big move and that candle, that wick get completely picked up right away, man, I mean, that right there is just a huge red flag, You got to pay attention to that because these institutions aren't playing around and they're flooding the market. They're making people, they're shaking out the weak hands. Who's not going to stay? Meanwhile, degens like me are picking it up on the side. Every time we're down, 2-3%, I pick up another $30-40. So I'm just like, yeah, screw it. Like I said the other day, we didn't get the stream yesterday because I lost power, but the stream before this one, I said every dollar is gonna be $100. It's gonna be $100, and it won't take much. It won't take much for that to be a thing, and it won't be long from now either. Anywho, so yeah, it looks like we're creating another cup and handle here. We just got to get a little higher. We did get a immediate pushback down, and yep, we are waiting on another breakout. It's probably going to be just like normal, about 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be about 1 o'clock in China. And yeah, they're just going to pop off, man. They just opened up. It's also a short week here in the States because of Good Friday. Good Friday's Friday. So people aren't going to be paying attention to the markets. Wall Street's going to be taking a day off. And yeah, so we're going to have to rely on the foreign markets to pick up the slack. And, Hong Kong's got to seed that ETF eventually. They're going to be pushing that product to everyone in China. So that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge. All right. So let's just, and it only takes like a percentage. And BlackRock is pushing in his latest meetings. We covered that last time. 28% right now is his target. And before the ETF, this is what I thought was really strange, because before the ETFs were even launched, BlackRock, Larry's FINK was popping off saying 85% or 84% should be your portfolio exposure. And I'm like, what in the hell? Now it's like the polar opposite. It's like what 20, 24, 28, whatever he's saying now. That's still insane. If everyone of these asset managers and institutions and hedge funds and venture capital, if they all put in 20%, Bitcoin's gonna be at $1 million in no time. We're sitting at a 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 trillion dollar market cap. Not even 2 yet. Not even 2. And last time Bitcoin went to its all-time high, we were at 2. Pretty sure our all-time high on market cap for crypto was much higher. So we're dealing with not only inflation, but we're also dealing with a demand multiplier that is going to explode people's heads and melt faces. It's coming. It's coming. Oh man. All right, let's dive into another article. There's a lot to cover today. I can go on rants for days. We got 10 minutes until market opens in China. SEC asks judge, this is the big one, right? The XRP case is finally coming to an end, and we're finally going to see them flip that switch, right? That's what I'm waiting for, man. That's what I'm waiting for. You got to flip that switch. God. So the SEC asked judge to fine Ripple $2 billion. There was actually another one here. God. I thought it was kind of cute. They had a, yeah. Our boy Gary there, the $2 billion quote. Yeah, this is what I need this check paid out to the SEC in my name. This funding is going to go straight to us. We really need all this money so we can figure out if everything's a security or not. Oh, Gary. Oh, God, Gary. Oh, jeez.
What are you, stupid?
Oh, my God. Oh, I'm so sick of Gary. Oh, my God. You got to get him out of here. Luckily, we have an election coming up, and there's a 1 in 3 chance we're not going to have our boy Gary anymore. So, there's a 1 in 3 chance we will still have him. Two-thirds of a chance we will not have Gary no more. That's 3 coin flips. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's crazy. It is nuts. Our boy Gary. Anywho, so the SEC seeks $2 billion from Ripple. The SEC levied charges against Ripple in December 2020, alleging the company raised over $1.3 billion through the unregistered sales of XRP tokens. A recent filing by the SEC in the remedies stage seeking disgorgement of $876 million, which they believe represents Ripple's net profits from the unregistered sales, along with prejudgment interest and a civil penalty, brings the total requested in remedies to nearly $2 billion. This is like Dr. Evil shit. Like, I want $2 billion to settle this ridiculous. Oh my God, yeah, man. Like, come on, Gary. Come on. Yep. Yeah, we know, Gary. Yes, and part of it was I think the airdrops were particularly not a violation of their security act or whatever, but I don't know. There's just so much involved in this case. I have been paying attention to it now for 3 years, and it's just bores me to death. My God, just be over with it. Rip out the damn Band-Aid. We gotta flip that switch, right? We gotta flip that friggin' switch. Yeah, and maybe we will. So the Plaintiff Securities Exchange Commission respectfully asks the courts to enter a final judgment against the defendant, Ripple Labs Incorporated, Ripple, that I permanently enjoins it from future violations of Section 5 of the Securities Act of 1933. Securities Act, like we can really use something that old to judge whether a security or a commodity is in play in the crypto market? I'm so sick of this ridiculousness. And the Howey test too is ridiculous. What are we doing? Oh my God, I need a drink to that. 15 USC 77E and from conducting and unregistering offering of XRP and institutional sales. ECF number 875 whatever. Oh no. Damn it. Looks like I am being ringed. Anywho. I will answer you later, bud. All right. So, unregistered security, Yada yada yada. Ripple maintains that XRP is utility token and not a security, and therefore it is exempt from the SEC registration. And they argue that the sales and distribution, yada yada. I mean, it would be easier though if they would have given proper regulation procedures for these companies to go. 2 years remaining. What? Mondo says 2 years remaining. For what? For what? 2 years remaining. Until we hit $1 million, maybe. That could be possible. $1 million in 2 years. Although Arthur Hayes, Samson Mao, Robert Kiyosaki, Max Kaiser, the list goes on and on and on. I'll predict that we're going to go to $1 million between this year or next year. So, yeah. I mean, we're going to probably touch it. I don't think... If we get that high, I don't think we're gonna sit there. I don't think it's gonna sit there. We might have a 50% sell-off or something crazy. We might go back down to the hundreds of thousands or whatever by that point. Whatever. Anyway, what's at stake? Steak is at stake. I'm not gonna go. Frick off, Gary. Frick off. Ripple wins. If the court favors Ripple, it will be a sufficient blow to the SEC's effort to regulate the crypto and currency industry. If the SEC wins, a win for the SEC would establish a precedent future enforcement actions against ICOs and token sales. You better not, Gary. And settlement. Both parties could reach a settlement and agreement, potentially involving a financial penalty, but avoiding a definitive classification of XRP as a security. Oh boy. Yeah. I don't think they have the date in here, but apparently the date is supposed to be the 22nd for them to settle this payment or I guess appeal again. I don't know. Hopefully this whole thing will be over, and that's right on the halving. Wouldn't that be insane if we just break right through the halving and then all of a sudden, boom, they flip that switch?
We started building RippleNet with the thesis that crypto liquidity would eventually be able to support robust global payments, large payments. RippleNet was designed so that customers who were seeing the benefits of our fiat-based network could flip switch to ODL once the market was mature enough. And this is exactly what's happening.
Flip the switch.
All right, let's not get too excited yet. We still got a month to go. Oh my god. Well, technically we got 2 or 3 weeks to go. The halving, man, don't forget, don't space it. The halving's gonna be big. And speaking of which, we didn't even dive into When Moon. All this talk about our boy Larry in retirement.
On the long-term viability of Bitcoin.
I was just saying, did that surprise you?
That surprised me how much that's gone up. I mean, look, it is. We're creating now a market that has more liquidity, more transparency, and I'm pleasantly surprised, and I would never have predicted it before we filed it, that we were going to see this type of retail demand.
So you thought you'd do good, but not this good.
I thought, yes.
Well, IBIT is your ETF over at iShares.
Yes.
It's about to overtake Grayscale, which was in the business certainly a lot longer. You look at the gains since January 11th when it first came about.
Yes.
Have you ever seen this much inflow this quickly into
IBIT is the fastest growing ETF in the history of ETFs. I'm very bullish on the long-term viability of Bitcoin.
I was going to say, did that surprise you?
That surprised me how much that's gone up. I mean,
oh no, it's time to get the time machine. We got to go back in time and get some more of that Bitcoin. Oh my god. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous where we are. Yeah, and so since this is the definitive Larry Fink stream tonight, yeah, and he was talking about retirement on 3 separate freaking newscasters, CNBC, Fox News, Bloomberg, Yahoo Financing. He was all over the place talking about freaking retirement, pushing these ETFs. And since he did, I thought we'd dive a little bit into When Moon again. When Moon is our favorite. When Moon is our favorite retirement speculative tool. And if you want to check it out, please go ahead and go to observablehq.com. At Jimbo BOJW/When Just type in When Moon. Oh my god. And find this API product. It's freaking awesome. It's free. All you gotta do is put in your stack size there and figure out how much you when you need to go under, or when you can start pulling out of your Bitcoin for retirement. You know, since Larry Fink wants you to make all the fees on your retirement, why don't just hold it in your own, custody and do it yourself. This is a great tool to give you an outlook to do that. It gives you charts and graphs and everything, how much you take off, when you should take it out, and it just gives you a long-term plan. And I really like this, until it's invalidated, of course, like anything else. But this is running on an API that is constantly updated. It's pretty cool. This one was just updated as of, yesterday. It's freaking awesome. So it's up to date as and the money supply is as up to date as about a year ago, so I don't know about that, but you can estimate a little higher or lower if you want to kind of bump up the inflation, or because the more inflation goes up, the more the less your purchasing power is, right? So it's gonna deplete it a little bit faster. So but at that point, that's the whole point, right? That one Bitcoin will always equal one Bitcoin. there is no second best, right? Yes, there is no second best. So anyway, just kind of going through this one more time tonight. But since we're talking about retirement, it's a great tool. You just put in your stack size. Say you have one Bitcoin. This is by default. Your desired income is $100,000 a year. They're going to pull out $100,000 a year out of your Bitcoin. You only have one Bitcoin right now. It's not even worth $100,000 right now. All right, just give you a future look at how much it's going to be worth. The annual supply increase is all automatically populated, and the annual Bitcoin appreciation rate, which is at 37.2%. I think it's closer to about 45 right now. This is annual, by the way, so we're not going to be going up. We are going to have deep. It's going to be what do you call it? You're gonna have whatever. it's gonna depreciate over time, right? So it's not gonna always be at a 40% increase annually. And we are gonna have the bear markets again. It's gonna be more steady, right? So we'll see how this goes. We can't predict the future, but this gives you a good idea. So as of right now, your stack is worth 69.3 thousand. It's a little higher than that. 69.6 right now. 69.3. That's about that. And their desired income is $100,000 out every year. Your retirement date or your moon date is 2033. That's not very far. I mean, if you're 20 years old right now, you could essentially retire when you're 30, not even 30, like 29, right? Oh my God. You'd be a 29-year-old and retire off of one Bitcoin if you're lucky, fortunate enough to get one Bitcoin. That's the other thing too. It's gonna be hard to accumulate all this after this year. Bitcoin's gonna be out of reach for most people. So that's really interesting to see. The appreciation rate 37%, and the depreciation rate of the dollar 12%. 2033 is your date. Now, your stack will only be worth $2 million by 2033, according to this. It's actually kind of low, according to Cathie Wood's prediction in 2030, being $2.3 million. So, it kind of checks out. It's roughly around that time frame. So again, 3 more years out. So, accumulation could be a lot higher by then. The fall of most fiat currencies across the world could be crazier. I mean, you could also just, if you wanted to evaluate your stack at a different currency by then, that could be totally different line of thinking too. Because I'm thinking about moving to a different country after all this is said and done, at least for a year or two. Till Bitcoin is at the moon. 2 years. 2 years until Bitcoin's at the moon. Bitcoin's at the moon now. Bitcoin moon now. We're at all-time highs. 69,000 is as high as we ever touched last cycle. We're sitting at the moon right now. We're about ready to blast off to uncharted territory. We haven't seen what's in the cosmos yet. We're just gotten to the moon. We haven't got to Mars. We haven't got to Pluto. We haven't gone to the Milky Way, or the far out galaxies, the Andromeda system, and all that crazy stuff. We're headed right for that. And at that point, we're gonna be in the hundreds of thousands, millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions. It's gonna get crazy. People have no clue how important this asset is. It's the only asset on the planet that has a finite amount. It's the only one that's transparent, immutable. We know what, and the sooner the countries are adopting it, the better off their policies are in their country. To fix the money, you fix the world. It's Bitcoin, baby. It's financial freedom. Alrighty. So yeah, say you had half a stack, right? You had half a stack and you want to retire on, say, 70,000 is enough for you. And you had half a Bitcoin. So $70,000 out a year just to survive on retirement. You could also retire in 2035. This is crazy. Oh my God. And say you only had 0.1 Bitcoin and you still wanted to retire with 100 grand. All right, it's still asking a lot. You only have 10%. You have enough money right now to say that would be about $6,900. Yep, $6,900. And you'd still be able to retire by 2045. That's most than most Americans right now with 10% of a Bitcoin. 10% of a Bitcoin. It'll be worth 7 million by then, according to this API. That's insane. By 2045. I don't know what to tell you. If you're not in the space, man, you're not protecting your wealth. You're not protecting your longevity. You're not giving yourself a chance, right? This is why I always push. Like, people ask me too, like, why do I carry weapons? Like, why do I carry a gun in my car? You know, why do I keep stuff like this around my house? Because I have a chance to protect myself with stuff like this. It's not. I don't need it. I don't expect to ever use it. Hopefully I won't ever have to use it. But I have a chance to protect myself. I have a chance to protect myself with Bitcoin too. So that's how I look at it. Again, we're living in the dystopian future. I cannot stress enough. This is the world now. Get over it. We're living in complete anarchy. It's going to be crazy. Cats and dogs living together. And then when Bitcoin's at 10 million, you know the bulls and the bears are going to be living together. No one's going to be selling Bitcoin. You're going to be freaking insane. Oh my God, unless you want to retire. I mean, that's the point. That's the whole point. So hopefully someone catches that message. I think it's a really good one. Bitcoin, again, Larry Fink, your boy Larry Fink's been all over the place this week talking about this stuff. It's insane. Absolutely insane. But yeah, that's what's going on. Wenmoon, please check that out. It's freaking awesome. Great tool. And yeah, you can use this for all of your kind of late planning, early planning stages, right? I check this out at least once a week. I play with it. It's fun. And I show it here on the channel frequently too, because I think it's really important to get people to start thinking, even if these numbers are invalidated at some point. Bitcoin has some sort of internal struggle. It's got to get over scaling. It's got to go over its base use case. It's got to get maybe we get even more regulation with the miners, and they get pushed out of America, and then America basically just crumbles. At that point, if they do that and they push all innovation out of America, I'm out. I'm done. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to move somewhere else really quick. Haven't decided yet. I'm looking between India, Thailand, maybe Singapore, Hong Kong. Dubai would be nice, but that's so expensive to just get out right out the gate. You have to have real money to go there. I mean, be real. But yeah, it's a great tool. Please check that out. Wenmoon, awesome API, very useful tool. Anywho, let's check into Bitcoin real quick, as it is already past 9 o'clock. Should be open market in China here shortly. China time is 9 o'clock in the morning, 9/11. I don't really see anything happening other than Bitcoin just kind of stair-stepping a little over time. Trying to see what else is going on the back end here. We have the brought to you by Kimba, of course. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it looks like there's just a lot of buys right now. Holy crap. We're only really having to push through 69.8. It's going to be the hardest part. Just by looking at the heat map, it looks like it's going to be holy crap. Yeah, about 69.8 is going to be our tough spot to break. And we're sitting right there right now. We're 69.6. The bears are pushing back. Liquidity start to entering the market. China, and we're just briefly right before China opens. Shanghai opens at 9:30, so we got about 20 minutes. Tokyo's already been open, so that's what we're seeing. The only liquidity right now is pretty much just coming from Japan, maybe Germany. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. I did want to touch base on this. This was really interesting too. Robert Kiyosaki comes out and says, the government is ripping off Americans with $1 trillion in money printing. It's every 100 days. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Oh my God. Rich Dad, Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki says the actions of the U.S. leaders in both the private and public sectors have made him bullish on Bitcoin. Who isn't? Really? I mean, who isn't? It's crazy. He also says that the dollar, just like any other fiat currency in the world, is a giant Ponzi scheme. Yeah, he's pretty wild. Have you ever seen any of his recent interviews? They're a trip. They're a trip. All the U.S. dollars is an IOU from America. Our U.S. political, banking, and financial leaders, they are incompetent or corrupt or both. Yeah, he basically states the obvious we talk about here all the time on the show. Thank God. Someone out there is using their brain. Robert Kiyosaki says another reason why he's bullish on Bitcoin is because its robust network. The best-selling finance author mentions Metcalfe's law, which states that the value of a network is directly related to the number of the users it has. That's right. Metcalfe's law is the law of power of networks. Bitcoin, like the US dollar, cell phone networks, and network-making businesses such as Amway gain this core value from the strength of their network system. That's the reason why Metcalfe's law is important and why he is so bullish. And why he's so bullish and I'm so bullish about Bitcoin and the demise of the US dollar. Bitcoin is a strong network. It's the most secure network. It is the most secure network we have in America, in the world, in the whole goddamn universe as far as we're concerned. It's the most robust and secure network on the planet. Kiyosaki previously said that he's looking to buy 10 Bitcoin before the end of the month, as he expects the crypto king to hit $100,000 by this September. I would argue that maybe even come sooner. I mean, we're sitting right here at the 2-3 weeks before. There's probably some manipulation going on trying to keep the price down a little bit before the halving, but we still haven't got retail in a big way. I've gotten some people asking me questions. Not really doing much about it, but no one's really, as far as I can tell, other than meme coins, I don't think retail's in Bitcoin yet. Again, no one's talking about Bitcoin in my work yet. I did hear a customer talk about it a couple weeks ago, but yeah, it's too long now to remember. Last time I heard one of my coworkers talking about Bitcoin, it's probably been 2 or 3 years. So don't miss a beat. At this time of writing, Bitcoin is trading for 70,000, a fractional decrease in this past day. Yes, very bullish, very bullish. That was yours truly, Robert Kiyosaki. Yep, I think it is coming. We are right there, man. We are right there. And we're still sitting there in that 69.5. We're just floating. We're just floating in that space. We got about 15 more minutes until China opens. I expect either a big sell-off or a big buy-in right away, right as soon as they enter the gate at 9:30 at night. I'm gonna at least hang out till then because I am curious to see. We've seen some crazy pumps back in the previous bull market, man. And I'm telling you, these swings aren't here. They're nowhere near what they used to be. 2021, man, that flew me up for a ride, man. I was up every single night. I put a damn TV in every single room of my house to make sure I couldn't stop looking at the damn thing. I have a TV above my bathtub, so I could take a bath or a shower and watch the charts. Yeah, I don't mess around with Bitcoin. In 2021, the last bull market, I was obsessed. Not so much anymore. I feel like I can go to sleep pretty comfortable now these days with Bitcoin, because I truly believe I've done all the research. I put in over 9,000 hours into this space. You don't have to tell me where it's gonna go. I know where it's gonna go. I know what it's all about. You know, this is the best thing we have. This is the perfect money, as far as we've ever created, anyway. Something else come out later in the future, maybe, but it's already proved, and you know, it's already established its place in culture. No one's talking about Litecoin, right? Litecoin's the cheap fork of Bitcoin. No one's talking about how Litecoin is going to change the world. It's all about Bitcoin. Anywho, while we're waiting for that, we got about 13 minutes left until China opens their doors into trading and start to get into some massive liquidity. Looks like we're about ready to test this this trend right here. This a slow ascending triangle. And it looks like we are about to test that. Probably in the next 3 minutes. Yeah, probably maybe 6 minutes. Looks like 2 more candles will get us down to that point if we fall back to touch it again. But it looks like we're starting to wane. We're starting to wane and go a little higher, low, or lower high. I mean, higher high, higher low. But yeah, and this is on the 3-minute chart. Nothing special, nothing crazy. In the meantime, let's just dive into some one of these. We've got. I wanted to talk about this. Fetch AI, Ocean, and Ajax surge as on token merger news. If you have a big bag of Fetch, right? I have a big bag of Fetch. I don't have any Ocean or Ajax, but I have a big bag of Fetch. I imagine a lot of people do. It's been one of the better performing AI tokens this cycle as Bitcoin pumps to $70,000. We've seen a huge price increase for Fetch. I think it was like trading about $3 last time I looked at Fetch. We can go check on the coin market cap real quick. Let's see what Fetch is fetching for. Oh my god. Man. Wow. I think it's lower down than Graph, or no, maybe not. Is it higher on the market cap? Did it get higher? No, it's still down there. Still in top 100, but where is our boy Fett? 53. Yeah. So about $3 sitting right now. It came down from what was that, 3.25, 330. That was probably the buy the news, sell via buy the rumor, sell the news event for the NVIDIA conference last week. So that's what that was all about. But man, that was the all-time high. Holy crap, for FET. That is cool, man. Cool. Big things happening. Big things happening. Hopefully you have a big bag of FET. It's been a while since I actually checked my bag on FET. But it's been crazy. I think it's up like 200% this year. Let's see where we're at. Oh, wow. Yeah. There's so many coins, it's hard to keep track of all of them, especially if you're sitting with a large portfolio, a very diverse portfolio, as I encourage people to have in crypto. But yeah, FET came up a lot. Holy shnikes. Shnikes. It is up a ridiculous amount. Oh my god. About 200% on the month. Insane. 13% on the week. So FET is doing business. It's putting the numbers in. Anywho, I keep getting distracted. So FET, right? We're all over the place tonight. Holy crap. Did I close our there it is. Fetch AI, Ocean, and Ajax surge as they token merge. They're going to merge. So if you haven't heard about this yet, Fetch, Ocean, and Ajax are moving into a merger, and they're basically going to all merge together under one roof, and they're going to be assimilating onto Fetch's current price target, which is about $3. And Ocean, Singularity.net, and Fetch are going to merge into ASI at 40 cents. It's going to go into 40 cents to $1 conversion rate, bringing ASI's fully diluted market cap to about 7.5 billion. They are going to be sitting at a launch price of 2.82 cents. The one thing I didn't hear about is when this is going to take place, but anywho, the following report says the project's existing tokens will surge to new daily highs with Fetch.ai and Singularity.net, recording 24-hour gains of 12%. As I just mentioned, 13% up on the week, and 10% respectively. Coin market cap data shows Ocean Patrol's Ocean witnessed the biggest surge among the three tokens, gaining as much as 36% over the past 24 hours. I'm not going to sell my bags, obviously, but I wouldn't be buying anymore at this time because I'm not sure how this is going to go out. I've been part of a few mergers in the past, or token unlocks, or token name changes, or V2s, and I've gotten burned before. Notably Gala kind of screwed me over. I kind of got out of that mess a while back. It's doing okay now. I don't dissuade anyone from holding it. I think it's a good project. It's just I was burned and I'm done. But basically they had a V2 unlock with Gala, and then Coinbase refused to acknowledge that, and yeah, basically went nowhere. So you're able to get it back onto your wallet, convert it, but it was still a pain to go anywhere else with it to sell off, and then you still have the dead tokens sitting in your wallet too. That kind of irks me. It really irks me. But I did kind of consolidate that into something else, and I'm kind of better off than I did, because a lot of my Gala bags from 2021 ended up moving into my AI plays, and that's kind of where we're at now with Fetch, Graph. Those are gonna be good movers here in the next bull market. So anywho, that takes us into 9:25. We're about 5 minutes into Shanghai opening, and we are still seeing this kind of move sleepily above new high, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And yeah, we're waiting for a breakout. That's a 3-minute chart, 5-minute chart, looking the same. 15-minute chart. Looks like we're printing a yellow candle or a green candle. I believe everything burns. Even Bitcoin when you send it to the wrong wallet. I can't, technically. It's crazy. We could be sitting at some crazy opening here on Thursday morning in Shanghai in about less than 5 minutes. Alrighty, so let's see. I want to see what Max Kaiser had to say about the SEC correcting Coinbase and the XRP settlement and their, regulations on ETH as well. Bitcoin evangelist and financial journalist Max Kaiser has commented on the recent news of the court rejecting Coinbase's request to drop the SEC suit against them. Just before I go any further, if you're not sure or aware of who Max Kaiser is, he is the biggest Bitcoin maxi in El Salvador. Great player over there to help them. Javier Milei. Javier Milei. No, Bukele. Javier Milei was Argentina's president. His new, but yeah, they're all scratching each other's backs. But he is a Bitcoin maxi by far. So today the court decided the SEC will vote forward. Yada yada. We went over that already. Max Kaiser tweeted, "The SEC is right again, reminding the army of followers that all cryptocurrencies except for Bitcoin, except the King Crypto, boom, are unregistered securities, including XRP and ETH." That really won't stop it, though. This is space that's going to flourish no matter what. Doesn't matter who's playing in the sandbox. We're all going to have to play together. This is why I made that. Bitcoin versus ETH. Because we all need to play together. And in the end, we will. Because this space is for everyone. And Larry Fink is going to get his tokenized assets and tokenized everything, right? You can't stop him. And then, people are going to stop calling this stuff beanie babies. My God. That's just how it's going to be. Max Kaiser pushing basically everything to security. Coinbase was slammed in legal action in the SEC in the summer last year for allegedly allowing users to trade unregistered securities. For the Securities Exchange Commission, all altcoins are considered securities, and only Bitcoin and Ethereum have been proclaimed commodities. However, recently discussions again began to rise that the SEC is about whether the second largest cryptocurrency, Ethereum, is a commodity. Indeed, all Bitcoin maximalists, including Max Kaiser and Samson Mao, believe ETH is a security, a heavily centralized crypto. I'm not going to argue with that either. I after stake and proof of stake. I was a big fan. I was a bigger fan, I'll say that, of Ethereum before proof of stake. Proof of work for me, Ethereum. I mean, the price action for Ethereum was higher, more volatile. It was more interesting. And when it went to proof of stake, and then the tokenomics changed. We got this basically infinite, symbol. If you ever go to Ethereum's main page and the current, you can track the deflationary aspect of it and the inflationary aspect of it. And it's still, it's still being tweaked. There's still, the code's still out there and active. I mean, we don't know exactly for sure where we're going to end up with Ethereum in the future. He's talking about rainbow staking now, which I think is intriguing. Ethereum's got rainbow staking ahead of it so that other people can stake something that's not 32 freaking ETH or whatever the hell the minimum is without staking pools and Lido. So yeah, and I also want the time frames to be cut. I mean, you got to cut these time frames. They're ridiculous on all cryptocurrencies, not just ETH. But anywho, recently discussions again began rising in the SEC is whether they start. We had discovered that heavily cryptocurrency crypto. As with XRP, the case of the SEC against Ripple that this coin has been going since 2020 last year. Ripple is security. There's nothing else about Samson Mao in here, so F it. And Bitcoin It is coming down and trying to touch this ascending pattern for the evening. We are 1 minute away from opening in Shanghai, and it is going to look like it's going to dump. So they want to sell it off. You'd think they'd want to buy it, but everyone's going to probably be looking at this. It's the same thing I'm looking at here. We're talking about psychological things, right? Psychological lines, psychological barriers, psychological supports, and psychological resistance, and it's all the same thing. We're all looking at the same stuff. So anyone pulling up a chart right now is drawing the same line I'm pulling, the same fibs, and we are looking at the same stuff. So yeah, I mean, right here, it could be a good buy. It could be a good long from there. Are we going to see the whales dump on, pull the rug from all the other traders? See another pool of massive longs, and are we going to have more people fight the bear, or the bears are going to fight the bulls and push the shorts? It's about, this is what happens every single day, and it's getting old, man. I think it was Max Kaiser. I'm trying to think who said it best. Wasn't Robert Kiyosaki? No, it wasn't Robert Kiyosaki. It was Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio, of all people, said that Bitcoin would be at $1 million in 2021 if people would have just stopped trading the damn thing, because they're it's just the way it is. People are just trading it. So it looks like what we're going to get out of it tonight. We haven't really, to me, I haven't really gotten super excited about a candle yet. This candle here was fun. What else do we have? Let's look at the 4-hour chart. We can see more of the candles on the 4-hour or on the daily. The daily candles. We haven't seen any like Super Saiyan God candles yet. We've gotten one big daily candle this month. That was last week. Yeah, last week. And then before that, we had one at the end of February. We're probably going to have one again at the end of this year. We're going to have the options close on Friday. Again, our Friday is going to be, probably closed. I'm pretty sure the stock market's closed this Friday. Obviously, crypto's not. But, it's going to be interesting to see between tomorrow and Friday, the U.S. markets, because right now we're at the daily close. We're still above 69, which is bullish. Remember that. Being above 69, that's our previous all-time high, is bullish right now. Right before 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the halving. I mean, this is it. This is your last chance. Your last chance between these levels. I even have it marked up here. This is the channel you want to be buying in right now, because this is the last chance you're gonna have. Next month, boom, 80, 85,000, 90,000. We have no freaking clue. If you take the measured move per month, again, I talked about this last week. These moves over the last few months have been insane, absolutely insane. If we take I did delete them, damn it. Yeah, I did. I had these shelves. I called them shelves. It's a staircase pattern. It's a long-term stairway. But yeah, you can see here, boom, 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 easily. Same gap, the same fair value gaps are in between these levels. So, I mean, we're looking right there about 73, 74. It's about that same time we should be here. That's where we should really be. We're taking a little longer to get there than we did. About the 15th to the 30th is when we got in. Boom. Yep. Then the 15th to the 30th. Yeah, I mean, we're right on schedule. Honestly, we're right on schedule. If you take all the measured moves from the past 2 months, the ETFs inflows, this is where we're supposed to be. And I would say by the end of the week, we're probably going to be sitting right up here, 74,000. Once we break through that, 73.8 is our resistance, previous all-time high. And we'll be sitting pretty at 74. It's common. It's only a matter of time. And then next month, our next measured move, again, if the halving doesn't just boom, explode, these could be doubled. These monthly moves could be doubled after the halving is in play. Because again, we're talking about not even a 7,000 Bitcoins are being mined a week. And they're buying, you know, all the ETFs combined and everything else, and the whales picking up, you know, tens of thousands a day. It's just not sustainable. It's just not. It's not. There's no way any of this is going to be sustainable. So I'd say after the halving, this is right about here. We're going to have the halving. I would suspect we're going to see one more shelf or one more stairway up. One more stairway up, and then the halving is going to come and at least double it. At least double it. That'll put us at $100,000 Bitcoin. Oh man, that would be April, May, June, May or June, right on time for the convention, the big convention. Looks like Bookmap is moving up with price action again. Look at these. Look at these inflows. This volume is going off the charts. Off the hizzy. Thank you, Kimba, for the book map. We thank you. Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, you can see the bulls are making a really big push right now. Let's look at the correlated volume. It's still kind of dinky. But we're coming up. Let's zoom back in a 15 minute. Yeah, and we are starting to make a handle for that cup. Boom. We might see an explosion. Yeah, you can zoom out a little bit more and you can see that cup. It's not quite as high as it should be though, but it pretty much touched. And that wick got bought up right away as soon as it touched our ascending triangle pattern. So that's bullish. This is exactly what I saw this morning when the I was gonna cover that when we opened up in the morning. I actually oh man, for those who saw that that collapse, man, that bridge collapse was brutal, man. That sucks. I'm not sure how I feel about that, whether it was meant to be or not. Oh, I was kind of playing around since I bought Bitcoin a couple times today. This is my crypto journal on Discord. Yeah, so this is what I saw. We were starting to make the same measured move from last week, and boom, bought up that wick right away this morning when we dropped right below 70,000, right back up. So this looks like it's doing the same thing in the open market on Shanghai. China is buying. They're buying. And then we had that big top and immediate correction down. They're like slap you in the face. Boom. You ain't doing that today. And we did touch 68,000 at the end of the day. I bought a little bit more. And we're right back at where we started, 69.5. Oh man. But since the beginning of the stream, we are up. We started the stream right about here. We were at 69 and now we're at 69.5. Oh boy. Oh god. As we're printing more and more on the heat map. Look at this. Bam. Someone just bought $626,000 worth of Bitcoin. Damn. Some of these whales. That's That's really, I mean, that's not that much. That's only like the fat stack of what? 10 biddies, right? 10 biddies. Interesting. Well, I'm probably gonna call it a night. It's fun being back in the space though. It sucks that I lost power yesterday, but we're back and we're building. So please don't forget to like and subscribe, do all the things. This is Crypto Otaku here, signing off. Have a great night. Don't forget, this may be your last chance. This is probably probably got like a month or two more of this in this range, and we might completely break out and see a whole new world. So don't let your dreams be dreams. Buy some Bitcoin. You owe it to yourself. I personally believe every dollar is gonna be 100, and no time soon. No time flat. Anytime. Very soon. Anywho, have a good night. This is Otaku signing off. Later. We're going down.